Hi, so you're working on your summer work, and if you're here, it means that you needed a little bit of help. So today we're going to be talking about the proper order of operations that you should follow when simplifying expressions. So order of operations is when we simplify expressions, and if you don't follow this order, what happens is you're not actually going to get to the right answer. So the proper order of operations is actually, the mnemonic for it is GEMDAS. Now I know that some of you probably in the past have learned PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. But we prefer GEMDAS because P only refers to parentheses, whereas it's not actually just parentheses that you have to do first. You have to do grouping symbols. Grouping symbols. And there are some symbols you probably don't know that are grouping symbols. So yes, parentheses are grouping symbols. And yes, brackets are grouping symbols. But also the fraction bar is a grouping symbol. So like 2 plus 3 over 6. You have to do everything in the numerator and everything in the denominator before you simplify, if it's addition or subtraction. Another thing that is a really like a grouping symbol is a square root. You have to do everything under the square root before you can do anything else. I also like to treat the absolute value bars as grouping symbols. You have to do everything that you can within the absolute value before you move on to anything else. Then we work on exponents. Okay, and just to remind you, an exponent would be, I don't know, a number raised to a power, so like 2 to the 5 power. So you have to do that operation if it's in the expression second. All right, now this is where things starts to get a little confusing. Multiplication and division, M and D refer to multiplication and division. But those have to be done from left to right. So if division comes before multiplication on the left, you have to do the division first. So whatever comes first on the left side of the expression is what you'd simplify first. And the same thing with addition and subtraction. You have to go from left to right. Now, if you follow these order of operations in every expression that you have, then you'll always end up with the right answer. All right, so let's look at some examples. 36 plus parentheses 4 plus 5. So yes, I have to do the grouping symbols first, so I have to do the 4 plus 5. So it's 36. And there's that old-fashioned division symbol you haven't seen in a while. 36 divided by 9, which 36 divided by 9 is the same thing as 36 with a fraction bar divided by 9, which is the number 4. Okay, now we have some more stuff going on here. We've got subtraction and division and parentheses. So we do our grouping symbols first. So 12 plus 3, which is 15. So we have 24 minus 15 divided by 5. Now, it's very easy. It's very common for us to want to do 24 minus 15, but we have to do division before we can do subtraction. So we have to do the 15 divided by 5, which is 3. So then we have 24 minus 3, which is 21. All right, let's look at a few more examples. 4 times 3 plus 6 divided by 2. So I don't have any grouping symbols. I don't have any exponents. So I have to work from left to right with the multiplication and division. So 4 times 3 is 12. Now I have to do this division before I can do the addition. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. Then I can add them. 12 plus 3 would be 15. All right, a couple more. 6 minus parentheses 2 squared minus 1. Okay, so I go to the grouping symbols and I do everything within the grouping symbols first. So that's going to give me 6 minus 2 squared means 2 times 2, which is 4 minus 1. So I evaluated the exponent. Now I'm going to continue to do the subtraction in those parentheses. So 6 minus 3. I can drop the parentheses once I do the subtraction. So 6 minus 3 gives me 3. All right, a little bit harder. I'm giving you multiple operations here. So 19 minus 7 plus 12 times 2 divided by 8. Okay, so I have to do the multiplication and division first, and I have to follow left to right. So I have 19 minus 7 plus 12 times 2 is 24 divided by 8. Then I do the 24 divided by 8, which is 3. And then I follow order left to right with the addition and subtraction. So 19 minus 7 is 12. 12 plus 3 gives me 15. Awesome job, guys. All right, so now the way I could make this a little bit harder is I could give you multiple sets of parentheses and grouping symbols. All right, so we go to the innermost first. Innermost first. Innermost first. Innermost first. All right, so I'm going to do that 7 plus 6, so 18 minus 52 divided by 13. All right, now notice I dropped the parentheses once I added the 7 and the 6. Then I go to the next set of grouping symbols. So I do 52 divided by 13, which is 4. So then I do 18 minus 4, which is 14. All right, now we've got this fraction bar. Remember, the fraction bar is a grouping symbol. So I want to do everything in the numerator. If there's addition and subtraction in the numerator and the denominator, I want to do everything first. So I'm going to do the 3 plus 2 first. So 8 plus 6 all over 4 plus 3, which is 7. All right, the numerator becomes 14. Now I have 14 divided by 7. So now I can simplify the 14 and the 7, which is going to give me the number 2. All right, a harder example. Why don't you try it? Press pause on the computer and come back and see how you did. All right, so we have 8 times 5 in the numerator, so 40, plus 2 times 7, which is 14. In the bottom, I have to do those parentheses first, so I have 2 times 3. All right, I'm going to simplify some more. The top is going to give me 40 plus 14, which is 54. The bottom's going to give me 6. So now I can simplify 54 divided by 6, which is 9. Okay, so some harder ones. The harder ones actually involve when we put a number like a plus in front like this. For whatever reason, we often want to try and add that 2 plus 3 because it just is sitting there looking at me, dying for me to add it, but I can't. You have to remember when there's no operation and I have parentheses, that means multiply. So 3x minus 1 means multiply 3 times the whole quantity of x minus 1. So this is where we would use the distributive property, and I have to distribute the 3 to both the x and the 1. So I would do 2 plus 3x minus 3. Now, we would combine the like terms. And to remind you, like terms are the same variable raised to the same exponent. Same variable raised to the same exponent. The same variable raised to the same exponent. All right, well, constants are like terms, so the 2 and the 3 we are allowed to subtract. So 2 minus 3 is going to give me negative 1 plus 3x, and there's my expression in simplest form. It's an expression because it does not have an equal sign. All right, let's try this next one. So we have the number being multiplied to parentheses, so I have to distribute, but now it's got a negative in front of it. So when I distribute, I'm bringing the negative with me, and I'm multiplying a negative 3 to both the x and the 1. So it would become 5 minus 3x, and then negative 3 times negative 1 would give me a positive 1. I combine the constants, or the like terms, and I get 6 minus 3x. Okay, couple more things. The last one that can be kind of tricky is the square root bar. I want you to treat it as a grouping symbol. So you have to do everything under it like it's parentheses. So 3 squared I would have to do first. So 9 plus 16. Now I can't take the square root of 9 and add it to the square root of 16. I have to add these values first. So that would be 9 plus 16, which is 25. And the square root of 25 is 5, because 5 times 5 gives me 25. All right, let's just carefully look at like terms and simplifying a little bit. Remember, like terms are the same variable raised to the same exponent. So we do have to follow order of operations and use all the different properties, and then we combine the like terms. So here's a little bit of a harder example. I have to see that 7 and 8 are being multiplied to a quantity. So I look at the parentheses, and there's actually nothing I can do within those parentheses because there's no like terms. So then I go to the multiplication and the division. So 7's being multiplied and a negative 8 is being multiplied. So I have to distribute. So 7 times 1 gives me 7, and 9x times 7 is going to give me 63x. All right, moving on to the opposite side, I'm going to distribute negative 8 to both, and I'm going to get positive 40v plus 48. Now, I don't really have like terms besides the constants, so these are the only two I can add. So 48 plus 7 gives me 55. So my simplified expression is 55 plus 63x plus 40v. Okay, it's an expression because it does not have an equal sign. All right, so that's our lesson for today, guys. I hope that helps you complete your summer work. And again, if you have any questions, Mr. Hamilton and I will be available all summer via email. See you soon.